and start recording right here. Okay, so again, these instructions right here are for the final model. So don't freak out about the study model right now, which is P3. So for the final model, document your overall final model construction progress, right? Throughout the entire process, right? I mean, photos, time-lapse videos, Instagram stories. Consider this your final journal entry, right? And it's a sequencing of the final development of the project, both the drawings and the model. So get to the habit of photographing everything, really. I mean, from the moment that you have nothing, where you have just put one piece to another one, right? To another one, another one. Again, I keep using this analogy of your work being your baby. All right. I don't know. I don't have any, right? But I care a lot about my work, let's put it that way, right? So you know how when you have a kid, right, or when someone has a kid, right, you just cannot stop looking at them and seeing them grow, right? Like, oh man, like every day, right? I mean, they're growing and growing. And it's photo after photo after photo after photo, right? Their first this, their first that, their first this, blah, 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 right? Because you're documenting their growth, right? I mean, and at some point, right, whether you want to share it with your friends and family or share it with that person once it's a grown up, right? I mean, it helps document time, right? So it's the same idea with this documentation effort for your project, right? I mean, from nothing, right? I mean, how you have one piece, another one, how it starts growing and evolving, right, onto what it becomes the final piece. Okay, so I'm asking you guys to do that throughout, and you know, it really pumps energy to see someone else working on their stuff. So by all means, right? I mean, Instagram stories, right? You know, you name it. All of that, I really take into account in the participation grade of your final grade, right? So be participant, be active, and share with us your work. You know, I mean, remember that we're all on this together and we're all here for you. Okay. That being said, let's get into now some of the specific of this final model. Okay. FYI, I've mentioned this before, but we're only using white foam board and basswood only for the final model, not including the base, which is going to be black foam model. But everything that goes on top of that black foam model base, it's either going to be foam board or basswood. That's it. No more straws, no more toothpicks, and no more chipboard or cereal boxes or card boxes or any other material, right? Just basswood and foam board. Okay, use white foam board for all volumes and 3 of the slabs, which dimensions are provided here. Nothing really changes then there except for the volumes, and I'm going to talk about the volume assembly in a minute. All right, use thin basswood sheets for the other 3 slabs, right, which are the chipboard or the cereal boxes slabs, right? We're going to substitute those by basswood sheets, right? Notice that you may use the same basswood thickness for all of those. And those sheets that I am talking about, they live here, right? So if you go to Hobby Lobby, right, you're gonna see them stack up either here or here on the bottom, and here they're actually kind of like this, right? So they're usually about 3 inches thick, right, and they're usually about 24 inches long, which is 2 feet. All right, I actually don't have any. Well, it's kind of like this, but they're longer, right? I mean, they're actually, you know, about 3 inches. This is actually about 1 inch, I think, but this would be kind of like the thickness. So, and I should clarify rather, any thickness as long as is thinner than the foam board that you're using for the other two slabs, right? So we're talking about 1/16, maybe 1/8 top for those additional slabs right there. Okay, so if there's any questions on that, please let me know. Next, we are replacing the straw number 1, which is your regular straws, with 1/4 inch square rods. 2 linear feet total maximum, right? That would be, again, these guys right here. Notice they come 2 pieces right here per baggie right here, $3. That's all you need, right? Actually, you only need 1, right? Because this is 2 linear feet right here, right? And I know I've already gone through all of this, but again, I don't mind going through it again if that's going to help avoid issues. I guess it becomes evident you can never clarify instructions enough. Really, I've learned that you cannot really clarify instructions enough ever, right? There's always another way to clarify instructions. So that would be the 1/4 inch ones. Now, again, make sure that they're square, guys, right? And I've gone right here to the Hobby Lobby right there. Basswood strips, they call them, 1/8 by 1/8, right? They are squared on the profile. Right, this profile right here. You're gonna see some that are rectangular, okay? You don't need those. You're not looking for those. You're gonna see some that are actually 1 thickness, let's say 1/8, and they're actually 1/2 inch tall, right? They're gonna actually look like this, right? And they're gonna look like this, right? We're not looking for those. We're looking for square profiles, okay? And again, I gave you guys this list last week so that you can start buying this, because again, availability, right? I mean, it's about 40 students in this class plus all the other classes, design classes. You want to go ahead and get this early. So that would be the 1/4 inch for the straw 1, 8 inch square rods for the straw number 2, which is the thinner straw. This now becomes a 4 feet linear feet total max. So that would be 4 of these strips. Now this one comes with 2, 4, 5 strips on this example that I have purchased right here. You only need 4 and it comes with 5. That is great. Actually, I'll rephrase that. You only need 4 linear feet, so you only need 2 strips, right? Because each of these ones are 2 feet, right? So my bad. You only need half of the bag. So that's pretty good. You have spare or for future projects. And the toothpicks, no toothpicks anymore. They're being replaced by 1/16 square rods, and this you can have unlimited, right? And it comes with, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2 long feet strips. Now, this is very important right here, guys. This is very important right here. I really need everyone's attention here. And we got to make sure that if this is not clear to you, we clarify this, okay? So it says right here, merge all volumes adjacent to each other from your study model into a single larger volume for this final model. What does that mean? What does that mean? Let me show you guys, and I'll use some of the images that I have right here to describe that right here. Okay, and I see questions. I'll be there. Let me find a good example to address this right here. And I saw a few. Let me find, for example, this one. And let's find maybe a few more. All right, let's start with this one right here. Let's see, question. Let me answer that. Is there a question first? William, is it okay if I stay after class just to ask questions? Yes, of course, William, stick around. Vivian, question for the final model. Can we add basswood rods in places we didn't have them if we see more potential for them? Because I see ways I can improve mine. Vivian, the answer to this question is yes. Okay, and this is hopefully something that you can start seeing on your drawings right now. And if not, it is something that you can study for your final model on your project 3 sketch drawings for your final P4. Okay, so absolutely, right? Because, right, you're going to see that working with straws and working with the actual basswood is going to be very different, right? The straws look wonky and funky and weird, but the basswood has a certain integrity to it that it really changes things, right? So absolutely, right? You definitely are able to further develop the ideas as you see the potential for that on the final assembly of your model. Okay, so great question, Vivian. Thank you. Okay, this is a good example right here, guys. All right, let's think about this right here. So again, I'm asking you guys to merge all volumes adjacent to each other to form a single larger volume. What is Munoz talking about? All right, guys. So again, let's talk about this. So this model right here, let's say that Ms. Carranza Batchwood was to select this one as her final model to develop, right? It might be, may not be. Now, and this is particular for the foam board pieces, right? Now, these pieces right here, let's see, we have 1 piece, 2 pieces, 3, 4 pieces, right? So 4 volumes right now are working together to create this larger volume, so that for the final model, this actually becomes one single larger object, right? We don't see those splits between faces because they don't exist no more, right? This piece, well, and let me see if I can do this better. Let's see, I know I can do this better with this tool, right? So this becomes now a single volume, right? Like this. And I'll go ahead and maybe, you know, just for right now, kind of add this right here and this right here, right? Notice, yes, originally we had these lines right here kind of splitting, right? And where those lines come from? Well, those lines come from comes from the individual cubes right now. But the way that Batra has stacked them now on this model, they actually now merge, right? I mean, there's a command in Rhino that we use for this. It's called Boolean join, right? I mean, you're joining the forms, right? So this now transforms into a single volume, right? So we're not going to see any of these lines anymore, right? So actually, I'm going to use right here, maybe, let's see, I'm going to use that right there. Is there a Y? Yes. So if I come over here, right, and then maybe, you know, just kind of clean this up a little bit, right? You know, in a way, this would become kind of like that right here, right? So you see on the final one, we're not going to see any grid lines, right? We're not going to see any joins between forms and pieces, right? We don't see that. They are merged, right? They become a single volume. Now, what does that mean, right? Well, how do we achieve that, right? I mean, how do we do that? Well, that requires some particular planning ahead of time, all right? Because now, rather than assembling boxes and cubes, you're actually assembling different types of volumes, right? These are irregular volumes rather than being regular polygons. This become irregular polygons, right? So if we take Batra's example right here and we unfold it onto the pieces that we would need in order to generate this this assemblage, let's look at that, right? So Batra would have this face right here, which would be a rectangle. And let me, can I give myself some space? Hold on, guys. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm hacking this right here. Let's go. All right, let's talk about this real quick. Let's maybe kind of erase right here. Oh, I can do that. Okay, that's cool. All right, I'm cleaning right here the board right here. All right, cool. So I'm going to do what's called unfolding this geometry. Oh, not that right there. Let's do that, and let's do this. All right, so I'm gonna unfold this geometry. I'm gonna start with this face right here. So the first thing that we have is a rectangle, and let me change my settings right here. That is, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, high. So we're gonna call this right here, right? So that face, right? And let me label this right here. Maybe this becomes face A, right? So this is A, right? And this is A. All right. Next, let's go for B. All right. So I'm going to use lines. Let's do this right here. So it starts from the, let's say that this is 1, 2. So it starts kind of from here. Let's do this. So it's 2 this way. Let me change my thickness. Let's do this one right here. So then we have this face right here. Let's say that that's 2 more or less. And this is 2 up right here. And then this is 1 up right here. And then we go all the way up right here. And then we do this right here. All right. This is now what face? This is face B. All right. So this is this guy right here. And then we don't see face C, right? But we can tell from the information that we have right now what that face will look like, right? Because we know it's 1 unit thick, right? So I do that right there. And we know that it's the same height as this kink of B, right? So it's about this height right here and this right here. So this would be now face C, right? Now, there's another face right here. Let's call this face D, right? That goes right here on the top. And I can actually add that right top right here. Now, attention, right? You are making this out of foam board, right? I mean, so the pieces that I'm drawing right here, they don't have to be connected right to each other. You can in order to save material, right? But remember that the way that these are assembled with foam board is the rabbet joint, right? So again, understand that there's going to be some scoring to do on the inner pieces of these faces right here, right? And we're almost there. So on the top right here, we're going to have another lid right here, right? So this is going to be this top right here. So that let's keep labeling this right here. All right, so this was D, right? This would be E, right? This is E. And then we're missing, oh, another large piece, which would be F, right? And we can do that right here, right? So it would be what? The inverse of B, right? So we could do kind of like that right there, this right here, this right there, this right here, this right there. And lastly, we need the bottom part right here that we're not gonna see, right? Which we'll label that bottom piece F, E. I mean, I'm gonna do this kind of like hidden right here, right? E, right? So do this, and I just put it right here, right? And then let's see, is that it? Do I have all of the faces? What do you guys think? William, I think it's missing one, right? Don't they? Where? Right here. It joins B and F, right? Correct, right? That's correct. That would be maybe this guy right here. Is that correct? Actually, this needs to be taller, actually, this right here. right? Because this is gonna fall inwards right here, and this height needs to be the same height as this. Or you can place it right here, or you can place it right here. Everyone, you get the point, right? Something like that, yeah. So we have this additional piece right here, which we're gonna label, let's label EFG. That again is gonna connect, correct, Will, is gonna connect B and F, and actually E, right? And actually D, right? So it's actually this piece right here that we cannot see. Okay, but you see how now the volumes merge, right? And this is going to require of you to approach the assignment differently. Or let me put it this way, I'm going to frame it as a question. How is this going to change the approach to the assignment, right? I want everyone to ask yourself this question, because it will change the approach to the assignment, or it should change the approach to the assignment. Okay, so this should actually, I'm not going to say that it's going to make it easier, because I would be lying. However, it should actually lower, potentially, if you have a lot of mergers, you can reduce the amount of cuts that you have to do, right? Because rather than building a bachelor had 1, 2, 3, 4 cubes right here, you're only creating this single volume with almost the same number of faces that that one cube, right? However, the reason that is not easier is because this requires additional planning, both for cutting, assembling, and gluing. All right, something that you guys haven't tried yet, and again, just keep in mind. All right, now that's excellent. Right now, any questions on this so far? Is this clear? Yes. All right. Again, guys, very, very important. Okay. Again, this is your final project, guys. And again, I want to make a note in terms of quality right now. I got some messages this weekend that, again, I'm actually kind of glad that I did, right? But I want to talk about that. Okay. So I see another one on the back. I see another one right there on the back, right? This is a great example right here from Batra, right? So again, this geometry right here originally is made of one, oops, let me do a yellow. This is originally made from one little cube, right? One big cube, and another little cube right here. So right now they're individual components, right? But the idea is that we actually want to turn it into a single volume, right? That will look something like this, right? So again, in profile, right, you have that right there. You have this right here, this, right? This, 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 and I think you guys get it, but again, you can never clarify enough with these assignments. And again, it is the final one, so I really want everyone to have the best possible outcome. And I don't mind kind of just going through this over and over again, so that it clicks. And do this, we do that, and we do that right there. Does that look good? We're missing another line right there. Good. Okay. So again, this object right here, seen from a profile view, right, will look something like this, right? So we have 3 units wide, so 1, 2, 3 so far, more or less, and then we have 3 up, right? 2, 3, right? And then we have like 1 step, and right, and then we have another step right here, another step right here, another one step right here, another one right here, and probably you can do that right there, right? So that's going to be this way, and I'm not going to go through all of them right here, but I just want to illustrate this again, right? So this is going to be face A, right, and this is going to be face A right here. Notice that this surface right here is free of it's free of lines, right? It's free of lines, it's free of the grid, right? It's free of the joint. There's nothing of that sort on this final version of it, right? So we're not reading individual cubes anymore and pieces. We're reading larger pieces where possible, right? Or where it happens. Okay. Now this is only for the the volumes. All right. The basket pieces, well, they're not necessarily merged like that. Um, um, that I can think. All right. Cool. All right, great. So I'm glad that we covered this. That's what I mean by merging all of the volumes and pieces right there. Please reference this, okay? And ask me if you have any questions. And it might depend on your particular forms, right? Some of you guys might end up with some complex shapes that we might need to take a more detailed look into that. All right. So let me go ahead and clean this out right here so that we can move on. Questions so far? Let me know. Okay. Let's come back here right here. All right, so that's what I mean by merging all of the volumes. Now, volumes, slabs, and all other pieces to be free of marks and grid. I already talked about that. We don't need a grid on these faces anymore. We don't need a grid on these slabs right here. Why did we originally had a grid? For a number of things. Number one, for construction. Number two was actually for design, right? I wanted you guys to use those grids as opportunities for design, alignment, symmetry, if you will, asymmetry, if you want, right? Those were kind of like safety wheels, right? That again, it kind of helped us to align things, connect things, join things, but those should now be implied, right? Rather than explicit on the faces themselves, all right? So free of marks and grids. That includes any kind of mark, right? Pencil, numbers, letters, you name it. Clean model. Now again, I will again mention it. Orthogonal 90-degree angles and positions only. All right. Every semester, right, I enjoy the discussions that I have with students trying to bend the rules, right? And it's like, well, how about this? That's orthogonal. That's 90-degree angles, right? It's like, well, no, right? It is an angle right there. So again, it's a beautiful concept, right? And and I noted that right here on Jeanette's, right? Is that a bunch of 45-degree angles I see there? Oh my goodness gracious, right? I was like, I thought I could get away with the diamond because it's a tilted square, but I didn't realize that the way I placed it, it created a 45 angle from the horizon, right? And again, that's fine. I mean, I'm glad that Janet tried it, and got that out of her system, right? But again, this angle right here, this becomes now a 45-degree angle, okay? So I'm holding you to this one. I'm tying your hands to this one, all right? Only orthogonal moves. So, but what Jeanette could have done, right? I mean, she could have kind of like turned this big old piece right here and kind of like created it like that, right? So rotated it, right? And again, it's orthogonal aligned to the others now. I think I saw one other one, right, Miss Lecky? But again, probably we were just kind of playing around and experimenting right there, right? But again, guys, parameters are important, instructions are important, and following them, of course, are important. But there's a reason why I'm giving you guys these parameters, right? And it's actually to help you guys, right? It's actually to help the assignment and help everyone else, because if not, it becomes chaotic, right? If anything goes and we can do whatever we want, it becomes kind of like a game of who can come up with the wildest thing. And that's just not helpful for anyone, right? So once we create parameters, we all vibe about them, we can actually judge all of the work equally, all right? So again, no turns, no tilts, no angles other than 90-degree. And I mentioned that, right? Non-orthogonal placements right there. But again, that's why we have three concepts to play with, all right? So I'm glad that came up, right? And that's why I have the note right here again. Whoops. Next, all foam board joints to be rabbet joints with concealed edges. All right, all board joints to be rabbet joints with concealed edges. All right, and I'm talking about the volumes. We talked about what that is, right? So we shouldn't be any side of the faces. Now, the of the foam boards, right? Now, the only edges that we may see from the foam boards might be cases such as this one, right, where we're actually using the slabs right here. Well, we're not able, we could, and students have tried to do this in the past. It just becomes very tricky, and there's a lot of margin for error. So I would actually advise to not do that. What students have tried to do in the past is like, okay, and which I really admire, right? The students are like, well, what if I cut a piece of paper that is actually this shape, right, and actually it extends right here, right? So that I can actually hide that edge right there. And I'm like, well, that's an interesting idea right there. I mean, let's try it. Oh, and actually there will be another one right here, but it just never works, or it doesn't work the way that we think it's gonna work. So it's not needed, right? I mean, so some students might want to kind of do that. I say let's not, right? So the only edges of foam board that we're going to see are from the slabs, right? I mean, which are this ones right here, right? And this one right here, because there's nothing really that we can do about those, other than perhaps play or work with the additional basswood that you have, right? I mean, and again, that's where, I mean, again, you can use another basswood that kind of like covers this profile, or a larger piece of basswood, thinner piece of basswood that kind of covers partially a portion of that, right? Again, there's many possibilities, but again, at least bottom line is that no foam board edges are shown other than from the slabs. And I'm looking for another example that I saw here. Now that being said, guys, let's please make sure to be as clean as possible with this. So if we are going to see those edges, which is the sandwich of the foam board, please, guys, please, let's keep it clean, right? This looks after I don't shave for like a week. All right, it's kind of like how that looks, right? I mean, it's kind of like patchy and like certain pelitos right there kind of coming in and out, sticking, right? So no, right? I mean, we want to have a clean shaved edge, right? So the best way to achieve that is going to be with a super sharp edge, right? A brand new blade. Okay, so foam board, it's really picky while you're cutting at it in that direction, right? So in order to avoid those kind of like, again, pelitos and like that kind of like uneven surface, you need to have a brand new blade. All right, so again, this is all just we're learning from this, right? But again, I'm using this so that we don't commit these errors on the final one. That's why we're doing a study model, right? You see the power of study models, guys. We're able to look into the future and plan for the future. All right, so very important, guys. All of these edges right here, especially if it's going to be exposed foam board, just have them be clean. All right, let's go back to our agenda. Now, for the basswood, right? Use miter joints for basswood square rods. What does that mean? All right, let me look for some of those examples. Perfect example right here. Okay, Ms. Manhattan again, right? So right here we have this interesting connection right here, right? So we have this top volume, right, or top shape, which now I'm going to draw as the pieces right here as the basswood sticks right there, right? That has some sort of a thickness right here, right? And then it has this vertical component right here. So this edge right here, what I'm saying is that it should be miter edge right there, right? 45 degree. And if you're still like, well, what are you talking about, Munoz? Remember that we talked about these two types of joints last class, right? We talked about the rabbet joint, which is for the foam board, and now we're talking about the miter joint, which is for the basswood. Now, what is the miter joint? That's the 45 degrees. Now, you don't need the the fancy little saw tool that I showed you in order to get those 45-degree angles, right? You have a 45-degree triangle, or you should have a 45-degree triangle that can help you trace that 45-degree angle so that you can do your miter joints. Now, if you have the tool that I showed you last class, it's going to make your life easier, all right? But again, it's all dependent upon your budget right now, all right? So that's the miter joint that we're using for the basswood joints for the square rods, okay? Again, guys, if I'm taking 2-3 hours of both your time and my time today to go through all of these instructions, is because I am going to be super critical that all of these instructions and guidelines are followed on your final model and final drawings, okay? I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but drama, right? I mean, but attention, right? Okay, moving on. Now, I'm not sure if you saw this from the my Blackboard announcement, right? Optional, right? You may use 5 scale figures, right? These are like little monitos right here. These are like little pieces right here. Those are this ones right here, right? So these are scale figures. In this case, they come a bunch, right? There's 100 of them, right? I think I have some right here, and these just are gonna add some sort of a scale, right? I mean, they're just gonna help us add some sort of a context to your model. And I have some right here. They're gonna be tiny, right? I mean, it's one of the smallest ones, right? So it's this fella right here. There you have it right here. So they're 3D. Now, please keep an eye on the scale, guys, right? On the scale of this, guys, right here. We're using, right, 1/8 of an inch scale, or the conversion for that in metric would be roughly 1 to 100. I think technically it's like 1 to 98, but, you know, for simplicity's sake, they round it up to 100. So these ones, for example, will be the ones to use for that. Now, again, they may come like a bunch of them, like a lot. Careful if you have kids, because or pets, right? You can easily kind of like digest some of these ones, especially the one that you're going to use for this project because it's so tiny. But again, it's optional. I mean, sometimes students come back that they have issues finding this, and they don't know where to buy them. I found this link. I haven't used it myself. I always buy them when I go, when I travel, particularly to San Francisco. There's this art store that I go there every time that I'm there, and I stock myself up with, with scale figures there. Unfortunately, don't get the ones from Hobby Lobby. They sell some scale figures for trains. I think like the people that build like the trains and put them around their house or whatever. You're gonna find some scale figures there at Hobby Lobby. Those are just really bad. They're really bad. They're to begin with, they're a different scale. They're colored very weirdly, but also the strangest thing of them is actually their proportions are off. They look like giant kids, so they're more like humanoids. Their proportions are not right. The head is about the size of their torso. They're just not good. No, not good. Not good. So if you can order them, I'll provide here for you guys a link on Amazon, right? Maybe I'll post that right now on the chat right now for the scale figures. Now, if you are going to use them, let's make sure, if you are going to purchase some, make sure that those are white, unpainted, so that then for the project, you can actually paint them. This is going to be the only splash of color that your model is going to have, all right? So paint, same color, solid color. I suggest that you do this with spray paint, right? So you line them up, a few sprays, and then you let it dry, you flip them, let them dry again, maybe do the sides, right? And then you have your little figures right there. What color? Whatever color you want, right? Yellow, purple, green, pink, other than white and black, because those are not technically colors, but those are optional, okay? Again, a lot of those things becomes budget dependent and availability. Talked about the black foam board base, although I do want to point out, guys, right? Black foam board base should be, right, 12 by 12 inches. And let me put that right here, 12 by 12 inches with a 1-inch margin and an inner 10 by 10 grid, right? And again, it's not about who this is, right? It's more about learning from this, okay? So this is exactly what we're trying to avoid, guys. There shouldn't be any pieces along the edges of the model. Remember that I've been talking about this margin in your drawings? Well, we're also using a margin on your model, right? You know how unless you're in anywhere else in the world, right? For the most part in the United States, right? Your house is not right next to your neighbor's house, right? You have what's called an easement, right? So so that if there's a fire in one house, it doesn't immediately goes onto the next one, right? That's one of the reasons. There are other reasons for these easements, right? So if I was to take one model and put it right next to the other model, there shouldn't be any other pieces than the base touching each other. All right. So I made that comment already to this person right here. So this base, for example, we need to do it again, right? We need to build this base again, because if not, it's going to be a problem, right? And I'm trying to look for a better photograph that shows what I am talking about in terms of the base, so that you guys could maybe see that. But no, I think I cannot find it. But anyway, guys, again, if or maybe no, I think this one has it, right? I'm just bringing this up so that if that is the case, guys, you can fix it, all right now rather than later, right? Oh, here we go, perfect. And I mean, let's see, maybe you can save this one already. Let's see. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, well, I was like, well, if it's the 12 squares, you can just erase these lines right here. But we can, because if we just erase these lines right here, we're going to end up with a smaller area to build our model right here. All right. So again, this base right here in this case needs to grow an inch on every direction. Okay, not a big deal, right? I mean, it's not a big deal. We're fine about it right now. Okay, gotta build that again. Okay, so be it, right? Whatever. Let's move on. Good. All right. So that's the base. Again, guys, no open or disconnected edges or joints, right? Ultimate, clean, or precise assembly. Again, I cannot stress this enough, guys. This is the last model, right? Not only the last model, but the last assignment, right? So this needs to be the ultimate quality, guys. You have 2 weeks, right, to make this model. Now I know that there's other classes, and I know there's Thanksgiving, and I know there's like 1,000 other things to take care of with life and family and work, right? But again, guys, you have been committing to this class for 14 weeks, right? 2 more weeks, right? That's all, guys. That's all that we're looking for, right? So I mean, again, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just bringing it up, right? I mean, it's not uncommon that students take 1 or 2 weeks off from work. They talk to their family, right? I mean, about the importance of these last days, right? I mean, people try to do arrangements of all sorts for these last 2 weeks, right, guys? And again, talk to students from Studio 3 or more advanced students, and they'll know what finals is about. For us, it's still kind of new, right? But I do want to say, guys, that I've been thinking about this, right? I mean, okay, it's a final model, right? How much time would this model take, right? Think about that, guys. Okay, help me out right here, right? Those are up here right now. If you go back and think about creating your cubes, right? I mean, tracing them, cutting them, assembling them, creating the base, making the study, and the drawings, right? can you please help me out right now and just, just ballpark it, right? I mean, how much time do you think this final model would take you? Now that it's only one model, but it's the final model, ultimate quality, and maybe what happens if we mess up, let's say 2-3 cuts. Maybe we have to redo 1 or 2 or 3 shapes, factor that in there, maybe throw in there like an extra hour or 2 hours of like redos or like errors, right? So chat, right? Guys right here in class, could you help me out just by saying how much time do you think that this final model would take you? Just ballpark, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 2 days of 4 hours, 3 days of 6 hours. How much time, guys? How much time do you think this? How much time do you think this model would take you? Ballpark it, just ballpark it, All right. All right. Cool. All right. So, just the ones that I get here, right? Tori, like you're right, 8 to 12 hours at least for me, right? Tori. ISIS, 6 to 8 hours, maybe more if you're clumsy like me. It's not that we're clumsy, right? I mean, it's just that it's tricky work, I mean, like measure twice, cut once, right? I mean, that becomes very evident, right? It's like, much, right? It's like, that cut was not there. Okay, fine. I need to cut it again, right? Vivian, 10 hours. William, 4 days, like 3 hours a night, maybe 2 a night. ISIS, it is, but it's worse if you're clumsy. Yes, you can be. So I think you guys are all very close, right? I mean, 8 to 12, 4 days of 3 hours, that's also 12 hours, right? 10 hours. So we have anywhere from 6 to 12 hours, right? Now, again, are you gonna work 6 hours continuously, right? Or 12 hours continuously? I would encourage you to not do. I like William's approach. For me, it would be about 3 nights. I mean, for me, maybe 3 nights. 4 nights, you might start feeling like, okay, I want to finish this now. But it might be 4 nights. It might be 3 nights, right? But for me, I would rather break it into nights. Again, now that's just working, guys, right? That's maybe 6 to 12 hours of work. But okay, guys, let's be honest, right? Okay, what if we throw in there an extra hour of Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever comes across? Now, what if we throw in there an extra hour of maybe bathroom breaks, snack breaks, and drink breaks, right? So that's 2 extra hours right there, right? What if we factor in there the dog, the kid, the neighbor, the mom, the dad, right? Interruptions, right? I mean, clean your room, right? Clean the dishes, right? So again, here's my take, guys, and this is something that please later on down the road tell me if I'm correct or not. I have found out myself that for me, any time frame that I give myself, I realize that instead of taking 2 or 3 times as much as I calculate that it's gonna take me. It doesn't say a lot from me in terms of calculating time, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Anytime that I say like, well, that model should take me about 8 hours or so, it ends up, it's not weird if it's not taking me about 2 times as long. All right. Drawings, the same. I think I can do that drawing in like 4 or 5 hours, right? It ends up taking me 2 times as that. All right. So I'm bringing all of this up, guys, so that we can create a conversation among all of ourselves, right? And to be realistic, right? To say that you're gonna get this model done in a night, is that realistic? Probably not with great quality, right? Probably not if you're doing it by hand, all right? So I need to bring this up now, guys, as you start the assignment, okay? I know some of you guys already know about this and think about this. Some of you guys maybe not that much, right? But think of your time and be realistic. Right? I mean, the day only has so many hours, 24 hours, right? You gotta eat, you gotta sleep, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, right? I mean, they'll only leave you so many hours left, right? So you need to plan accordingly. All right. So honestly, I would say I would plan about 20 hours for this final model, quite honestly, with the quality that I'm looking for the ultimate quality, right? I mean, honestly, I would say I think all of these projections are optimistic, right? I mean, 12 hours, you know, but again, that's with 12 hours of non-stop work, right? Like 12 hours of like work, the 12 hours, right? But honestly, again, how long does it take you to set up, right? To think, right? To draw, to trace. I don't think, you know, we always factor all of those little seconds and minutes that start adding up onto our projections of time. All right. So I'm just going to say it all out, right? I mean, I'll say honestly, it's about 20 hours for a great quality model, final model. And I'm just talking about the model. Okay. I'm not talking about drawings. But you guys let me know. All right. I actually encourage you to keep tally of your hours, guys. I really do. Right. I mean, just take a look at what time it is whenever you start working, more or less. Right. Even write it down right there in your notes or wherever. Right. It's like, okay, it's 10 p.m. Right. It's 8 p.m. Right. You need to understand this. You need to, you know, it's like, wow. And here I was thinking that I was going to spend 4 hours. I was going to have that much, right? It's been 5 hours and I only have half of what I thought I would have. Okay. Because if you don't, guys, it's kind of like if you don't look at your bank account, right? Do any of you guys have like that weird thing? I had this for a long time. I had this long time that I really didn't want to look into my finances. So I thought if I didn't look into my bank account, I wouldn't really have to worry about it. I know, right? Dumb, like, or silly, right? Like it doesn't work that way, right? So it doesn't work that way by you saying like, I think it should be 8 hours, right? I mean, like, no, you need to know, right? I mean, you need to know how much time you're spending, the same way that you need to know how much money you spend, right? I mean, so don't run away from it. You know, really understand it is gonna take you a long way in your entire career. Really do so, guys. Understand how long a simple box is gonna take you. A simple layout is going to take you, right? And you will be better at your work, all right? And lastly, again, 90-degree uniform cuts and edges throughout, right? Again, guys, clean edges, right? I mean, you know, I'm not gonna lie. I'm at, you know, I was critical judging this assignment right here, both the inventory, right? And the 3 cubes, right? And not everyone was very happy, right? Not everyone was happy, right? I mean, it's like, hey, Munoz, what's going on? Like, I'm sorry, it's my first time doing this model, but like, I mean, I can do it again and it's going to be better, right? But again, I was being very honest when I was grading your cubes and your inventory, guys, because what should I do? Should I just give you A for effort and be like, awesome, right? I mean, like, yay, this is great, Wendy. Like, no, I wouldn't be doing anyone a favor, right? I mean, because Wendy would be like, oh, okay, so this is fine, right? I mean, that means that this is final quality, right? Like I can use this, right, for the final model, right? I mean, or something like it, right? So I have to be honest, right? It's like, hey, right? And you saw on your assignment, right? I mean, you know, marks right there. And I know that most of you see it and that you know it's like, I know, Munoz, I know, like I'm sorry, you know, like this is my first time, like what can I do, right? I'm trying. That's fine, you know what I mean? Just don't take it too personal, right? I mean, don't take it too, you know, I'm an A student, right? I'm like, I need to be perfect. It's like, well, I mean, it takes time and it takes practice, right? And again, little things like this, right? I mean, I don't know if like that's like white paper, liquid paper, or like corrector or something, or tape, right? But that shouldn't be there, right? I mean, oh, but it's a study model, and I know, like, I don't know, right? I mean, I'm just saying, like, okay, like, watch out, right? Watch out, right? So again, I need to do this right now so that again, you don't go blindly. Not only, let's forget about the next assignment. So you don't go into studio 2, 3, 4, right? With the mentality that this is work of quality, right? Because the reality is other, right? So again, yeah, it might have come across, like, whoa, like, okay, like, I'm sorry, like, but it's not like that, guys. All right, so please don't take it. If anything, just learn from it. All right, just learn from it, and acknowledge it, recognize it, and if you need help improving, talk to me, right? I mean, but this is one of those things that unfortunately, the best way to um, really work on this is practice, guys. This is one of those moments that doesn't matter how much I talk about it, and it doesn't matter how both you and I talk about it. This is all hands on. So this is all about you actually trying. All right, this is all about you actually doing the work, and learning from your experiences. Okay, so that's why I'm adding all of these notes. Just keep an eye on your edges, your corners. Oh man, there was another one that I really need to point out that let's not do this. I actually don't even think this person tagged me, right? I actually right. I mean, again, I really don't. I'm not trying to blast anyone, right? I'm not trying to put anyone on the spot, but if the mistake or the error is happening, I think the best that we can do at this point is use this so that it benefits others, so that we don't do the same mistakes and errors, right? So, I mean, again, right? I mean, this is completely an unacceptable way of doing this phone box, right? I mean, I I have a 3-hour video of me showing you how to do this model, right? And for me to see this, it's like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, I'm concerned, right? I mean, like, I'm not upset, but this is for me, it's a big red flag, right? It's like, hey, like, hey, whoa, let's stop everything that we're doing because we're not going the right direction, right? I mean, and we should know this right now before we spend more time on this and we're all upset and we don't get the results that we want, right? Because I'm gonna give you a grade for this, you're not gonna like it, and you're gonna feel you're wasting your time, right? But the reality is that we didn't take the time to look at the instructions. And again, I'm almost, I unfortunately believe that the person that should be listening to this comment is not going to listen to it, because if this person did not watch the video of how to make the box, what guarantees me that he's going to be watching this recording, right? But again, for those of you guys that are seeing this, just and even if you see it from your classmates, right? I mean, just give them a heads up, right? I mean, it's like, hey, I mean, like, just hey, just FYI, I mean, can I help you with those corners, right? I mean, I just noticed, right? And I think, I don't know, I might be wrong, but I had a similar issue, and I can help you with that, right? I mean, I don't see that as a problem, right? So anyway, guys, instructions, right? I mean, cannot stress that enough. All right. So anyway, I'll get off of that now. Let's see what else. What else? So okay, questions, guys. Questions in terms of the model. Any questions? That's okay. Take your time. If it might not be right now. And or anything that you have maybe run into, and like if there's a particular problem issue that you're gonna face, and you're like, oh yes, you have an idea of how to perhaps work in this or whatnot. Let me know, and we might be able to help you out. Okay, let's see. And Ms. Cabrera, right? Professor, the 50% final model is part of what you are covering before the final model. Okay, yes, right? So the 50% model is the 50% of what is going to be your final model, right? So all of the comments that are making right now apply to the final model, of course, and then in turn apply to the 50% price. Is that clear, Natalia? And please, I'm sorry if I'm not understanding the question correctly, but if I understand correctly, yes, the comments that I'm making right now are both for the final model and the 50% progress model. It's the same model, okay? Again, you go get a jacket done, right? I mean, there's a sequence to the fabrication of everything, right? I mean, it's not like, ta-da, right? I mean, it's like, whew, 100%, right? So let's think about it this way, right? I mean, you have a project, 50%. It's 50% of that, right? I mean, it's the construction. Now, am I gonna count, right? Am I gonna get to? No, I'm not. It's just you know, that's it. All right, Natalia. Let me know if that addresses your question. Batra, just making sure. We have to wait for your approval to move on to the drawing part, right? Correct, and that's for project 3. That's what's due tonight, right? So that's something that we need to figure out right now. So that's actually something that we need to get onto right now. All right, so that's why I need to finish this so that I can start talking to some of you guys that are ready, so you can start producing your final drawing, which is due tonight. All right, William. Well, I actually think you answered my question. I believe someone else asked. You said it was fine to add members that weren't originally present in the study. Basswood. That's correct, William. However, right, those members need to be part of these parameters right here. So it's slabs, you have these 3 sizes right here. And for basswood slabs, you have these 3 sizes right here, no more. And for the linear components, you have these requirements right there, no more. Okay, so yes, you can add more basswood components as so long as part of the original set of kits that we started with, if that makes sense. Okay, Vivian, are we using tape or glue? I'm sorry if you already covered this, you might have missed it. Oh, Vivian, thank you for asking. Okay, I'm so glad that you're asking, Vivian. Okay, yes, absolutely. In case you didn't see my previous announcement, right? And I posted this on the Project 4 folder. You're using Elmer's white glue, tacky glue, or this kind of wood glue if you have used it. Okay, it's called wood glue. Has any of you guys used wood glue before? Oh, good glue, wood glue. Right. They sell this craft version of it. This one right here. Elmer's, this wood glue. Now just curve. Actually, I talk about it. I actually did talk about it, but that's okay. I talk about it again. It's that yellowish tint. Be careful. It takes a little bit to dry, but once it dries, right? I mean, it's really hard to take it apart. It doesn't dry clear or white. It dries kind of yellowish. So be very careful that it doesn't stain your foam board, your white foam board. And just apply it the same way that I taught you, right? I mean, put a little bit on a scrap piece of material, and then scoop out little pieces of it with a smaller scoop or toothpick. I like working with it when I'm using it with glue, with wood, but it would also work with Helmer's or tacky glue. Okay. And for the final model, there's no tape used at all. No tape used at all. And also, thank you guys for asking, no hot glue gun for the final model. Ah, man, I know, right? I know. but those are super, super messy. I'm seeing if I have a gun right here so I can show you guys. But don't use it, right? I mean, as a general rule of thumbs, guys, do not use a glue gun for final models. Some instructors are just gonna yell at you if you do. You know, you know, I of course care, but there's some instructors that it's a big no-no. Okay, so this kind of glue gun stuff, hot heated gun, is fine for study models. I think that's essentially what these are for, study models. But please do not use tape or hot glue gun on your final models, at least not in a way that it's evident, right? If there's certain moments or things like, listen, I'm not a model making patrol or police, right? I mean, you do whatever you want, right? But if I start seeing like blobs and glue and like goo all over the place or the little strings that kind of are made from this thing right here, it's just, again, not a clean model. All right, so I'm glad that this is coming up in terms of the assembly, right? No, no silicone, no tape, the wood glue, right? Tacky glue, either clear or white, or I talked about Elmer's glue. Probably other glues are gonna work. There's some, honestly, glue is a whole world. I would encourage you to do your own research and try different glues. You're actually gonna find that super glue can work for the model, right? AKA Cola Loca, right? So you can actually use this for paper, you can use it for wood, you just need to learn how to use it. You know that this one is toxic and it dries different and whatnot. But you know, I do encourage you to do some research on glues, not only this semester, but your entire semester, your entire career. There's different glues that are going to help you glue different components. Okay, so thank you for asking that. You can use, and you should use tape. The only reason that you should be using tape, now granted, it should be painter's tape, is to hold pieces in place, right? It's to just kind of again, you apply some glue to a component. You know, you don't want to hold it right there, spend the hours right there. You tape it, you let it do its thing, dry, and then you come back to it. Carefully peel the tape off and move on. Great, guys, great. More questions. Please keep them coming. All right, let's see what else. Natalia, oh, so it's the same model, but just different submissions, right? That's correct, Natalia. Again, please let me know if we're confused so that I can clarify this. It's P3. I'm not talking about P3 anymore. I'm talking about P4, the final one. For the final model, it's just one model, right? One model, and I want to see 50% of that model, right, for next Tuesday. Okay, so that's a progress. It's not a different model. It's a progress of the one and only final model. All right. William, glue. Crystal, Crystal has some insight into glue. I find tacky glue more useful for models. All right. I would take Crystal's advice. She has done a really good model in one of my classes before. So Crystal says tacky glue. You know, there you go. Crystal, was this clear tacky glue or the white tacky glue, or there's actually like tons of tacky glue. Is there a particular type of tacky glue that you like, Crystal? Tacky glue. Because there's actually like a fast drying one, right? There's the fast grab. There's a turbo I was looking at. Wow, geez, right? Turbo, right? Turbo tacky glue. Again, there's felt and bottom, like for example, that's not something that you want, right? Clear tacky. Great, says Vivian. William, the first submittal is a progress check. Thank you, William. Natalia understands. Great. Crystal, clear tacky glue. Okay, so you have it, right? Natalia says, I'm sorry, Crystal says clear tacky glue, which it might be this one right here. But for example, I'll be careful, right? I mean, I don't know about this one right here, this super thick tacky glue. I don't think it needs to be thick. I just think it needs to be somewhat strong and manageable. So this is the clear right here, clear gel tacky glue. Thank you, Crystal, and thank you guys for sharing your feedback on that. All right, guys, models, questions or comments on model before we move to the final drawings so that I can talk about those. Please let me know. Yeah. Okay, good. All right, guys, let's, I just have one more slide, and we need to now talk about the final drawings. All right, this is probably gonna take me probably another 20 to 30 minutes, right? And I know we gotta get going with your guys' drawing. Hopefully right now you're using your time to draw. If you haven't, if I haven't approved your final model from P3 to use for your final P4, and you're kind of waiting to talk to me or for me to give you feedback, you can start laying out your sheet. You can start creating your title. You can start adding your name and project title and drawing title to all of your sheets, right? So that you can just finish your drawing right after class and you can submit tonight. Okay, so you know, absolutely, you're welcome to use your time smartly and just listen to this while you're working on your stuff. Let me I'm gonna pause the recording right now. I'm gonna take a break. Let me just use the restroom real quick, and I'm gonna come right back, and we're just gonna finish talking about the drawings. Okay, so be right back. Any questions, please let me know so that I can address them. Be right back, guys.